AITA for ripping up my neighbor's vegetable garden? I own a house that is close to other homes. Each home is 10 or so foot apart, but we all have backyards. Recently I noticed a tomato garden growing on the side of my home. The back of my house sticks out a little more than the front. That kind of shape, and the back goes right up to my property line. The garden was on the side of the smaller part of my house, but still technically on my yard. Then terrace my neighbor's driveway, and their house. I just bought the house a little under a year ago, and don't know much about plants, so wasn't sure if it had to be planted or just grew on its own. I ignored it, but later sent a text to my landscaper about a few vines on that side of my home growing up my house. The landscaper came and removed everything, including the tomato plants. I'm not home when the landscaper comes, so just saw later that day. A few hours later, the neighbor came to my door upset that I removed them and asking for me to buy them organic tomatoes for the rest of the season or replace their plants with mature ones from Home Depot. I told them their plants shouldn't have been on my yard, and I have a landscaping sign in my yard. It shouldn't be my responsibility to make sure my landscaper doesn't take out plants that are in my yard and aren't mine. I'm wondering if maybe for the sake of keeping the peace I should just replace the plants though? AITA for ripping out their plants? Commenter says, as much as it hurts my heart to rip out a perfectly good tomato plant, you're NTA for doing so on your own property. Commenter says, NTA, I told them their plants shouldn't have been on my yard, and I have a landscaping sign in my yard. It shouldn't be my responsibility to make sure my landscaper doesn't take out plants that are in my yard and aren't mine. Exactly. Why would they expect you to reimburse them because they planted in your yard? It doesn't sound like you even knew what the plants were. Commenter says, he was behaving like the yard was his, and hoping you didn't know any better. Where I used to work, we'd see this all the time whenever property changed hands and there weren't existing fences. People are always trying to gain a few extra feet over the property line from who they hope are gullible new neighbors. Sounds like your neighbor was hoping to get the other side of his driveway for his own use, but at least he didn't lie once he realized you were fully aware it was your yard. If it was a prior arrangement with the former owner, he'd have checked with you first. If he wasn't trying to be sneaky, he'd have knocked on your door and asked if it was okay. If he'd thought it was his land and had been doing it for years, he'd have said that after you pulled them up. If he'd thought you wouldn't mind, he'd have said that. All he said was, you owe me for my plants you pulled up. Talk to your landscaper about a pretty hedge or something. It's what I did. I closed on my house, and the next day, before I even moved in, the neighbors cut down a beautiful tree that was on my side of the property line. A tree head talked to me about cutting when I was just viewing the property. Demanding you reimburse him for plants he knowingly planted on your land is pretty ballsy, I have to say. NTA, thanks for watching. I love you. Follow Reddit Echoes for more.